I saw this message on the Twitter account of the U.S. State Department. The State Department, that's what they call their Foreign Affairs Department down there. This is where you might expect to see statements about diplomacy or military conflicts or that sort of thing. Here's what they say. Today on International Pronouns Day, we share why many people list pronouns on their email and social media profiles. Read more here on Share America. And if you go there, you'll find this little gem. Some people are pioneering gender-neutral pronouns such as she, her, and hers. So this is on the U.S. State Department's agenda, apparently. Sort of like those Floyd George murals that the U.S. government painted on walls in Afghanistan, really. You know, no one really talks that way in real life. It reminds me of that made-up word Latinx that all the liberal white media in the U.S. use. It turns out only 4% of actual Latinos like that word Latinx at all. It's made up. It's really weird. I think it's just a trick to create insiders and outsiders. It's like a secret password to get into your secret club or something. Oh, you don't know the password. It's just a way to marginalize people who you disagree with by being more righteous than them. I mean, whenever anyone focuses on things like that, for example, if they say, no, don't use Aboriginal, say Indigenous. If that's their obsession, that's what they really want to talk about, it's a pretty good indicator that they would rather do that than talk about something real, like, say, fix the boil water advisories that are on dozens of Canadian Indian reserves. So yeah, if someone says Latinx or talks about the pronouns, I think they could well be an inherently unserious person, and they want to have a quarrel with you about who is more exquisitely politically correct in their vocabulary. And they'll constantly change the terms to be one step ahead of you rhetorically, by the way, because they'd rather do that than actually getting something done in the real world, like clean drinking water on a reserve. Which brings me to the real world. The real world is this. China tests new space capability with hypersonic missile. Launch in August of nuclear-capable rocket that circled the globe took U.S. intelligence by surprise. Let me read a little bit from the story in the Financial Times. China tested a nuclear-capable hypersonic missile in August that circled the globe before speeding towards its target, demonstrating an advanced space capability that caught U.S. intelligence by surprise. 5 people familiar with the test said the Chinese military launched a rocket that carried a hypersonic glide vehicle, which flew through low-orbit space before cruising down towards its target. The missile missed its target by about 24 miles, according to 3 people briefed on the intelligence, but 2 said the test showed that China has made astounding progress on hypersonic weapons and was far more advanced than U.S. officials realized. The test has raised new questions about why the U.S. often underestimated China's military modernization. We have no idea how they did this, said a 4th person. Oh, just that, eh? So just that. You know, they're pretty busy up there in space. Did you know that China has their own space station? Did you know that? I'll let you look at it while I read to you from a Guardian article in the Guardian newspaper a couple days ago. The story says, Chinese astronauts arrive at space station for longest mission. The Shenzhou 13 vessel docked at its space station to kick off a record-setting 6-month stay. 3 astronauts successfully docked with China's new space station, state media said, on what is set to be Beijing's longest crewed mission to date, and the latest landmark in its drive to become a major space power. The 3 blasted off shortly after midnight on Saturday from the Jiuquan Launch Center in northwest China's Gobi Desert, state-run news agency Xinhua said, with the team expected to spend 6 months at the Tiangong space station. Yeah, you bet. Yeah. Oh, and there's Wang Yaping, a new female astronaut, or taikonaut, as they call them. But it's not just space. What about jet fighter planes? Here's a news story. I mean, this isn't news. We talked about this with our friend Gordon Chang. Brazen China steadily ramps up warplane flights in Taiwan's airspace. Beijing appears to believe now is the time to test America's resolve in support of the island nation as it boasts of its military might. That's an excerpt from my daily show, the Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. You gotta subscribe. Go to rebelnews.com.